Welcome back to the channel, friends. My name is Verona and I'm a nutrition coach on a GLP-1 journey. If you haven't liked and subscribed, don't forget to hit that bell button, like and subscribe, and join the tribe. We are talking about all things GLP-1, what you need to do, what you should do, and who you should consult. And remember, this is just generic advice. My journey might not be your experience. You do need to consult your doctor before undertaking any fitness or nutritional change in your lifestyle. So today's episode, what we're talking about is 3 GLP-1 mistakes that can make your side effects worse. You might be thinking, wait, I've heard the side effects are diarrhea, vomiting, and nausea. What could be worse than that? That's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. 4 days ago, I genuinely wanted to quit my GLP-1 journey before I even started, only 4 days in. And if you haven't seen the video, I will link it somewhere up here or over here. And then you can go and have a look at that and see how my first 24 hours of GLP-1 was. Now, for me personally, the nausea was wild. I mean, who likes being sick or the nausea feeling? Certainly not me. And the diarrhea, yes, TMI, but I'm all up in your business. I'm gonna tell you exactly how it is. The diarrhea is savage because the GLP-1 slows down. It slows down the digestion. So basically, it keeps the food in your systems for a little bit longer than it needs to be. And when it does pass, it's slipping and sliding all over the place. I'm laughing because if you know, you know. Anyway, I remember thinking to myself, wait, is every single day going to be like this? If it's going to be like this every day, I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it no more. Take it back. Today, I can report, hallelujah, the nausea is gone. And I'm actually going to tell you in this episode why that can happen and the mistakes that I see people making so early on in this journey. If you're thinking about taking a GLP-1 or you're already on your journey, please, sister girl, stop making this mistake. Number one is not eating because you're not hungry. Now, with a GLP-1, what it actually does, what's the word? Suppresses. It suppresses your appetite, but it isn't an appetite suppressant or a fat burner, okay? That's the distinction there. Within a few hours of my first injection, I had breakfast in the morning and I chose intentionally to do it. The day that it got delivered, I was like, yeah, come on. We're going to wait 24 hours. We're going to start right here. We're going to start right now. We in this now. Within a few hours after that, the food noise became so quiet. I thought, is this thing on? It felt like something was wrong, but it was just the medication was taking effect in the body pretty immediately. Not quite right away, but within a few hours, I was actually starting to feel like I was fuller for longer. Anyway, I thought, well, if I'm not hungry, I'm not going to eat. Because that's what Wegovy is, right? That's what Semaglutide is. That's what they tell you. All the people on TikTok, anyway, all the people on TikTok, they were like, no, you don't eat. If you're not hungry, you don't eat. Huh? Listen, we did not get big backed without by not eating. So we still need to eat. Let's not get it twisted. What you're eating, how frequently you're eating, is the key. You still need energy. You can't have medication in your system and decide you're not going to eat. If you have to force yourself to have 5 little meals in a day, if you're doing cardio, appetite increases more and you feel like you want to eat at the house without the medication. And trust me, that same sensation is changed and adapted slightly. You might not think about food, or you might not be like, I'm hungry, I want to give me a snack. You might not be like that, but your body is still telling you, because you have exerted energy, you now need to replenish your body with energy. But it just communicates to you in a slightly different way when you're on a GLP-1. If your doctor isn't telling you this, I'm here, okay? Listen, please eat. Protein, get yourself a little egg, cheese, some crackers. Listen, I don't like cottage cheese, but today it tasted like I had Pringles because I was so hungry. It doesn't feel like hunger, but my body is chatting to me because I'm like,
wait a minute. Who are you?
First got this nausea the first few days. It was horrible. But actually, what I've known now is that my body is actually signaling it's hungry, but I'm not communicating in my head, because that's what the GLP-1 receptors do. They interfere with the ghrelin and the leptin hormones, which is your hunger hormone and your satiated hormone. So you get less of that food noise. I need to eat. What am I going to eat? That's cut off now. Your stomach, that isn't cut off. So it's still communicating to your body, I need to eat something. And that's why it's recommended that you continue to have a high protein diet. You still can have carbohydrates. Don't cut out carbs, especially if you're doing strength training or cardio. You still need to have a balance of fats, healthy fats, and micronutrients. Now that the GI tract has slowed down, now your body has a chance to absorb the nutrients a lot better. Long as it is a whole food diet, increasing your protein, now your body over time will have more time to digest the food and actually absorb the nutrients. And it has to be quality foods, okay? Because if you're just gonna use this to quiet the food noise and still go and have a whole bucket of KFC, you ain't gonna get the results that you want, okay? Mistake number 2, waiting until you feel hungry. This one links to the first mistake, but it's a bit different. Before I started taking the GLP-1, I relied on hunger to tell me when to eat, so it would dictate to me when to eat. Now I'm taking a supplement, a prebiotic supplement, and I started taking that before my GLP-1. This is one of the best pre and probiotics that I have found for my body based on stools tests that I've had and also blood test results. Now what this GLP-1, I'm GLP-1 on the brain, ain't I? Sorry, I'm feeling like my mouth is a little bit dry. That's another thing that happens when you're on a GLP-1. Your mouth is so dry. Hold on. Make sure you're drinking your water. So yeah, before I started taking the GLP-1, I relied on my body to tell me, okay, girl, you're hungry. You're hungry now. And what are you going to eat? You open up the fridge, right? And you're like, wait, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? You become like a little bit of a caveman because you open the fridge and you expect the food to be cooked as soon as you open the fridge, right? If you don't meal prep, you ain't going to eat today. So you got to learn to meal prep again. You got to learn, you can order your food if you want to. But if that happens to you, because your digestive tract has slowed, those fatty, greasy foods are going to stay in your belly and you're going to learn the hard way. So instead of me waiting till, oh my goodness, I'm absolutely hungry. And that's what I was saying about the pre and probiotic. Because it does, you take it on an empty stomach. But it literally wipes me out. Like I remember I had the shakes because I waited too long between taking the prebiotic and then actually having something afterwards. If you've ever been on antibiotics, it's not for the weak. Antibiotics is absolute when it comes to your gut, girl. And I've been on it 3 times. My journey with food has been a journey. I used to have this thing called H. pylori. You can get it from contaminated water, or you. Oh my days! I just realized. I bind it in Jesus' name. I pray over my water, please. I realized that I get this from a filtered tap at work, but I don't know when they last changed their filter. No. I plead the blood of Jesus over me. I'm fine. I'm healed. That's why I buy filtered water. Anyway, you can get it from there and also your diet. So my diet was heavy on the ultra processed food, heavy on the McDonald's, heavy on the Chinese. And there was no way I was taking my big back self to the gym or even weighing a scale. Me, absolutely not. And that's how I got H. pylori. And I only realized there was something wrong was when I kept eating and then I was violently sick. Now, this is not me treating or diagnosing you. If this is your condition, if you have something like this, you do need to go and get it tested and they tell you that what it is. But I didn't learn because I was so addicted to food. I had it 3 times and they give you a concoction of medication, antibiotics is included, that literally want to wipe out the bad bacteria, but it wipes out the good bacteria. So I was constantly feeling like I was hungry. And if you've ever had antibiotics before, you know what that feeling is like. And so when I've come to GLP-1 now, it's a very similar feeling because for me, I know what that feels like. And it's the same thing with the prebiotic. If I leave it too long, yes, it's doing good stuff, but it also is too long for me to wait to eat. Anyway, I've over-explained that a little bit, haven't I? Maybe I've even lost somebody, but stay with me. How that links to the similar journey on a GLP-1, you've got your low energy, your blood sugar has dipped to the window, to the floor. It's gone to the floor, right? And your nausea starts to get worse. That became my little reminder that was like, baby, it's time to eat now. You don't need to eat any big back meals, but you can eat yourself some protein, some carbohydrates, some complex carbohydrates that will break down into the bloodstream a little bit slow, because you don't want to be backed up with all that food in there. Anyway, one thing that surprised me was by eating often, that nausea was able to settle down rather than being like a big alarm warning signal. Be like, oh, hey now, you better eat some food. Hey now. Anyway, that was the opposite of what I expected. But mistake number 3 is, see how this is all about food? Trying to eat normally. The thought of me sitting there and eating a big normal meal, I'm going to call these big back meals, right? So you're going to get used to the terms, big back meals. That's what they were. Who does that? Who wants to do that? And this 2-liter bottle of water, it's taking me so long to finish it. I mean, look at the size of the bottle. It's bigger than my head. I completely understand why people recommend bland crackers, rice diet just to get your body used to it. Because if you go from big back meals to suddenly no food, your body's going to be like, wait a minute. Somebody feed me. When I used to wait for the food to deliver, I used to get hungry. Like, I don't even get that anymore. I'm hungry, but I don't get hungry. And today I forgot all of my protein snacks. And so, girls, I was struggling. Even though the appetite signal has suppressed, I'm still feeling it in my body. I'm like, I need something to eat. For me, most days, I prefer oats. But again, oats is a simple carbohydrate. Even though that I've got protein in there, it still breaks down quickly into the bloodstream. And so within an hour or two, I want something else. And the thing is, when it comes to smaller meals, they may be the things that you need rather than a big plate of food and you're like, whoo, you feel uncomfortably full up. It still might not be enough in terms of the portion size. I do recommend that you track your food. You don't have to weigh your food, but you're just putting into, I'm using MyFitnessPal. So I'm putting in, I weigh my protein so I know exactly what I'm getting. So if I'm on a high protein diet and also complex carbohydrates as well as fiber, because that will help keep things going and moving, and the water helps with that as well. So once I've got all of those things and I am timing them throughout the day, so I'm having little meals more frequently throughout the day, what that does then, it reduces the nausea feeling. But here is something that I wish somebody had told me before I started my GLP-1 journey. First few days of it don't actually tell you the full story. And if you're expecting it to do that, sister girl, you gotta wait a little bit longer, because we did not gain our big back in 4 days. It's definitely not gonna be lost in 4 days just because we're on a GLP-1. You having to remember that your body is going into a severe calorie deficit. So obviously it's going to be hungry. Even if you're not on a GLP-1, when you reduce your calories, for example, in the last video, I talked about how high my calories were and I had 750 calories in snacks. Girl, almost 1,000 calories in snacks, and be like, oh yeah, it's because I'm doing 75 hard. Please. It's big back activities, and that's exactly what I was doing. If you're somebody who is naturally reducing your calories without a GLP-1, you are still going to feel that effect of hunger because your body is used to getting a certain amount of food. You restrict it from that amount, it's still going to be like, where is the additional calories? First few days, you are adjusting. And in my case, I'm aiming between 13 and 1,500 calories a day. I have not had these calories since I did Beachbody, maybe 8 years ago. I remember eating out of little containers. Oh my goodness, I was hungry. I was thinking about food all of the time, and I was underfed, and they were overtraining you, just in my opinion. Too, I remember, I never forget one meal that I did. They recommend, this is what you call, in my opinion, disordered eating, where I tried to fit a, ooh, that one just hit me. Where I tried to cut up a slice of pizza into this yellow container because the philosophy was, if you can get it into this container, you can eat it. If you can't, then you can't eat that food. And I get it. I understand that they were trying to say no food is off limits. But who cuts up a slice of pizza and puts it into a yellow container and thinks that is healthy? It wasn't. The thing is, when it comes to nutrition, that's what so many of us are doing. And if we've still got those habits with GLP-1, we're going to repeat the habits and we're going to stay stuck in that cycle. We have to break the addiction to food that we've built up through whatever, whether it's trauma, whether it's rejection, which was my case. We have to deal with it and we have to build better habits, and that's going to take time. And so even though some of us are expecting, right, it's been week 1 now, why am I not down 5 pounds? It's all right. It's okay. Your body is taking time. But even if you are seeing weight loss, it's going to be a bit of water weight that you're losing in the beginning before you even start to lose fat. There are so many things that you have to do. But don't be like me, where that was disordered eating. I've never struggled with food before in my life before. It was a horrible thing. How can an obese person struggle with disordered eating? Restrictive eating. That's what I mean when I say disordered eating. I listened to a narrative where I was fat. Yes, I was. And there was something wrong with me. I didn't want the results hard enough. I was the problem, not the way that I was being taught. 1,400 calories. I don't even know what I weighed. I might have weighed 180 pounds or a little bit more than that back then. And I was on 1,400 calories and working out 7 days a week. Bro, you see that toxic... That toxic nutrition is what gets so many of us caught in that addiction of, oh my gosh, we get into a point where we're restricted so many times that when we're now allowed it, we binge and we have no control. That I don't agree with personally is down to biology. That is down to restriction and the things that we're being taught. Some of it is biology, but not all of it. So we, on this GLP-1 journey, if you are going through that journey, we've got to deal with that. And we've got to go backwards to go forwards. It's not nice. Some of you might need to have therapy with it as well, because you'll go into some of those, they call it like a house. So where you have the top part where everybody can see, You can see your living room. Everyone can see all of that. So you know you got on the outside, you're like, yeah, hi, everything is okay. Even if you're overweight, you're smiling, you're making people laugh. Some people try to be the class clown like I used to be because I was afraid of my weight. But then you got the basement. That's where everything took place, and you hide it under there. Like the iceberg, people see the top of you. You can use the iceberg analogy in two ways, but people see you only show people, you only allow people to see what you want them to see, which is the top pretty bit. But the bit underneath, which has formed for decades underneath, nobody sees that. When it comes to therapy, you're dealing with the basement now. Nutrition. Not everybody has traumatic connections to overeating or over drinking, but if we are going to have this tool, which is a GLP-1 as a tool, we have to also deal with the root causes of our addiction to food. It isn't nice, it isn't easy, but I'm telling you, if you want to break free from your addictions to food, if we want to, we have to deal with that so it's no longer has a hold on us, so we can control food. Food doesn't control us. If you're somebody who's thinking of, or you've just started a GLP-1 journey, I would love to know what has been the biggest adjustment for you. And if you're still researching before you start to embark on a GLP-1, leave your questions in the comment box below. Don't forget to take your measurements as well. If you have found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's walk this journey together. But this is a journey and being transformed by changing the way that we think about ourselves, we think about food. That will take time, but why are we gonna rush if this is the way that we're gonna live for the rest of our lives? Free from food noise, free from addiction, free from self-sabotage and insecure thoughts about the way we look. We are actually on a journey to learn to love the bodies we're in, even if we don't like what it looks like, because we're on the way to changing our relationship with food. And that's what I want to encourage somebody with today. You're changing your relationship with food. You ain't going to look like this all the rest of your life if you're somebody on a GLP-1 journey, or you're not on a GLP-1 journey, if you utilize the tool and deal with the traumatic roots or the root cause to your addiction to food, alcohol, sweets, chocolate, cakes, whatever it is. This is the end of the video because we could be here forever, ever. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.